Beautiful. Well, if you've just joined us, welcome. It's Taki Moore here in the driver's seat for today's Black Belt strategy session. Today, we're going to focus big picture. My goal really is to help you get clear about what it's going to take your business to 7 figures in the next 12 months. Some of you are already there, and it's about adding another zero, or adding at least another million. And so excited about helping you with that. And if you're transitioning, like a lot of you are, from a one-on-one coaching practice to a one-to-many coaching practice, there's people on the line with $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a month coaching businesses one-on-one, and how do we translate that and get those results and more in our leverage program. So we're going to talk about that in depth today. Going to be very roll up our sleeves, so lean forward in your seat rather than sitting back. Today we're here to work on $1 million marketing plan, and specifically what I mean is this. It's the start of a brand new year. And if you're like most of the coaches I know, you started the year, or at least finished the end of last year, with going, hey, what didn't work so well last year, and how do I want next year to be different? And probably got some really clear goals around what you want the new year to look like for you, how you want 2013 to shape up. Really, what are your goals for, the new year? And then obviously, how do I make that happen? So one of the dangers I see coaches make all the time is they get into this thing that I call feel-good visioning. And feel-good visioning is where you're really clear about what you want, and you visualize it, and you got it on your dream chart and all that stuff. And you spend so much time feeling good about the vision that you don't actually kind of get off butt and make vision come true. Does that make sense? So today's really about forming the plan to make that number or those goals come true. So it would really help me if I can get you to share with me what are some of your big goals for the year. And if you can kind of just take 20 seconds, everybody please, and just type in what are your goals for the year. And so kind of tell me about numbers, tell me about everything you think I need to know just in 20 seconds. Kind of what's the big goal look like for this coming year? You tell me that, then it's going to be much easier for me to kind of help tweak the game plan for you. I know some of you are thinking about, you got income numbers in mind, but some of you are thinking about events and some webinars, etc. It will help me kind of help you formulate the plan. So what are your goals for the year? And the good thing about Black Belt is got 20 or so of us on the line. The more input you put in, the more I can help you with. So, Stefan, increase our business's online offerings. Totally. Launch my Millionaire Business School, 50 members in the first intake. Fantastic. Chris, raise my monthly revenues to $85K a month. Perfect. So that's the $1 million number, right? $50K per month on income. Online program up and running. Thank you, Malcolm. Jeff, launch and kick goals with my restaurant and salon webinar programs. Fantastic. So we've been working on those together. $350K revenue. Healthy habits, global expansion. Clients smash their own goals. Fantastic, Nathan. Perfect. Yvonne, launched the Business Game Changer online program end of January and hit my income goals. That's good. Andrew, roger that. 100% increase in my turnover. Fantastic. Get my one-to-many program off the ground and built to 80 members by the end of 2013. Totally doable, and we'll smash it. Lenore. $40K a month. Leverage through one-to-many via webinars, membership, or group programs. Pauline. Awesome. Nicole. 15 to 20 from webinars and a small group of hungry one-on-one mentoring clients. Great to have you on the line, Nicole. Welcome aboard. 600K plus. Thank you. 250 in my online program, Matt. Great. Okay, good. So here's the thing. You've got the kind of the first piece that you need, which is, where am I going? What am I driving towards? So what I want to know is, presumably some of those goals or something similar was in your plan last year. So if you think about what happened to you last year, what was it that held you back last year? So if you kind of look back in the wake behind you off the boat and look at where you came, what were some of the things that got in the way that slowed you down or got in the way or held you back from hitting your last year's goals? And if we can be really clear about what happened last year, we can avoid them this year by being a bit strategic about the plan we put in place. So I'm going to give you another 20 seconds and let me know. Colin, thank you. 3 by 3 day big ticket items, 3 by 1 day big ticket, 360K rev. Awesome, Colin. Great. So what held you back last year? Just give me your kind of top 3. Bullet points is fine. And then we're going to start to build this $1 million marketing plan. Okay. Too much time on low dollar value activities. Now I've got a virtual assistant, which has been nice. Awesome. Chaos, confusion, desperation. Okay. I didn't have a clear marketing plan and I wasn't sure how to write the marketing. Andrew, gotcha. Last year I didn't know what I didn't know. Yeah, so last year you were just doing it the traditional one-on-one way, right? Too much one-on-one coaching, pretty common. Myself, divorce, distractions, lack of focus, no motivation. Understand. Always getting ready thinking, like I didn't know enough. No, it's not stupid stuff. It's pretty common. Chasing one-on-one prospects, no automated marketing. Clients weren't hungry. In other words, I wasn't positioning myself right and attracting the right clients. Trying to do it on my own, getting a VA other trainer now for my bigger clients, not charging enough and settling for second best. Okay. Lack of action. Big change at the end of last year. Yes, there was, George. Lack of clarity, no consistent marketing plan. Great. Way too available. No excuses. No marketing plan. Da-da-da. Distractions and some personal tragedy. Yeah, Chris, I was really sorry to hear about that. Not enough structure, limited resource, not enough time, Lana. Pricing, not getting enough shit done. Totally. So here's the thing. What's really easy to do is what we just did before. What's really easy to do is to go, hey, what's my goal? Then if you think about what happened last year, what have we got in place to make sure that this year is different? Because the challenge often for smart coaches is they've got really, really clear goals without a clear plan. And when you've got clear goals without a clear plan, it leads to frustration, it leads to confusion, it leads to friction. And as you know, kind of when you've got more friction in your business, then it's hard to get anything done. And so what we want to do is we want to get rid of this. We want to keep the goal. We want to get rid of the friction, the confusion, and the chaos and replace it with a straight line plan. So no matter what's going on the outside, you're really clear about here's how my business is going to work. Okay. So today is all about a really simple 5-piece plan. And it's a plan that I've used and other of my $1 million plus business owner friends also use that's built their kind of coaching or info businesses up to the 7-figure level. So let's talk about straight line plan. What I really want you to do is, the kind of aim of this, honestly, is to get rid of a whole bunch of the distractions left and right and have you first focus on the one thing up front. And the Germans have this word for it. They call it Schwerpunkt. And if you've been at a black belt intensive, you've probably heard the word. It's literally the German word which means focal point. And what we want to do is we want to line your marketing and business plan up and point it straight at the Schwerpunkt, straight at the focal point, the place where the minimum effort is going to produce the maximum reward. And when we do that, getting leads is going to be easier. Having a product that kicks ass and gets clients results is going to be easier. Getting them to buy that product is going to be easier. Generating the leads, converting sales, and getting clients to win is going to be a whole bunch easier. So that's what happens when you're really focused. You block out the left and right, like you've got blinkers on like a horse does when they race, and you just kind of focus right in front. It's called the Schwerpunkt. So quick question for you. If you think about, last year, and there was a lot of kind of chaos and confusion and going on for some of you, if you had this Schwerpunkt nailed, if you knew exactly where you were headed, what to focus on and what not to focus on, and you had a straight line plan to get you there, how would that give you an advantage in 2013? So what would be the plus for you about nailing the Schwerpunkt, about kind of knowing this is the one thing I'm doing and here's how it's going to work? What would be the advantage for you? Just going to give you 10 seconds. Perfect. What I really want to do today is just lay out the plan for 2013. So every webinar that we do, every live event that we run, and every one-on-one session that we do together is going to be focused around installing and tweaking the 5 things we put in this plan, starting today, right? Yvonne says, less internal chatter, clarity and direction, getting straight to the results. Accurate focus, much more likely to achieve my goals. Clear communication to my team so they can implement. Time to focus on the bub. Yes, that's right. By honing in on one point, the more you focus, the quicker the outcome. Totally. Massively capture my market niche and be the go-to person. Be clear about saying no to things that weren't where my attention needs to be. And yeah, if you don't know where you're going, then he with the strongest vision wins. Get to my goal quicker, says Ruben. Simplicity, clarity around where my business is going is growing too. An opportunity to develop towards being on the business, not in the business. Therefore, my business not being all about me. Perfect. More personal satisfaction from the work I do. Chris, exactly. More time to focus on the good stuff. Clear away my clutter. Perfect. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to share with you 5 keys for focusing down the year. Okay, so 5 keys. If you are ready to take notes, now's the perfect time. Okay, so 5 key principles. Please grab your pen and we're about to rock and roll. Okay, so principle number 1 is simplify your strategy. What we're really talking about is kind of reductionism in your business or pruning off some things. So if you think about all of the things that need to happen in your business, there's marketing and there's sales and there's delivery. So there's kind of those three, minimum those three pieces. There's marketing, there's sales, and there's delivery. You want all of those to be lined up in that straight line like we talked about with that highway before, towards the Schwerpunkt. Anything that goes off to the left or right is a distraction for you. It's a confusion for you. It's something that's going to take you off focus, slow you down, right? It's kind of friction. So what we want to do is we want to simplify your strategy. The more moving parts, the more confusion, the less focus, and the more friction you have, it slows you down. In fact, it's funny. I just started training with this personal trainer guy, Daniel, a couple of months ago, and I was training with him and Dale Beaumont, and we had to do these hill sprints up a hill. And Dale's, to be honest, he was a whole bunch fitter than I was. He probably still is. In fact, he's about to go cycling 800 Ks around Thailand to raise money for charity, which is really cool. But we did these hill sprints, and I remember him telling Dale to keep his arms straighter because he was kind of going on at these kind of diagonals, like side to side almost. And he got Dale to have his arms running kind of either side of him straight ahead, almost like a steam train does with those things on the wheels. And as soon as he did that, Dale's speed took off. I kind of wish he hadn't shared that with him. But as soon as he was in a straight line, he'd kind of pruned off anything to the side. He was a whole bunch quicker, and he beat me up the hill every time. It's kind of embarrassing. So I want your business to be like that, without any of the side-to-side action, just everything all in a straight line. What we want to do is reduce the number of moving parts so you can focus on a very, very few pieces and maximize the results you get from them. So Steve Jobs, may he rest in peace, was the obviously founder of Apple. There was a time, though, when he got kicked out of Apple. And when he was kicked out, Apple went through this really down time. Business suffered, business struggled. They did really badly. And they finally accepted the fact that they needed to bring him back. And when they brought him back, they had literally 100 plus different products. Different computers, they even had early tablets and a bunch of odd type gadgets. And the very first thing that Steve did was he culled the product line really, really drastically. In fact, he kind of culled it like this. If I one sec. Oops. He culled it like this. He was talking about computers, right? And so the focus was on computers, and this is what they did. They decided to have, they've got notebooks, or kind of laptop, and desktop. So there's going to be laptops and there's desktops, and we're going to have a premium, and we're going to have like an entry level or a basic. And that was their product plan. They ditched everything else, and they had 4 products: a premium notebook and a basic notebook, a premium desktop and a basic desktop. They culled their product line down from hundreds to 4. And when they did that, then profitability shot up. In fact, even just more recently, if you think about Nokia with the mobile phones, there's something like 150 odd, 160 odd mobile phones that Nokia created last year. 150 different product lines. What about Apple? 1. It's called the iPhone, and that's why they've got market share. So what we want to do is we want to cull like crazy to focus us down. If you think about the money map, which is a really simple framework that we teach as a simple way to kind of think about your marketing, it's about focusing it down. Well, all we need 1 channel, a way to get our message in front of people. We need 1 lead magnet, 1 freebie that we offer them in return for contact details. If our goal is to sell 1 product, then we need 1 conversion tool. See what we're doing here? In the end, you might have multiple things here, but our goal up front is really simple. It's just to create 1 pathway. So we've got a channel that works, to a lead magnet that pulls, to a conversion tool that converts, to a product that delivers a result. All we need is kind of 1 pathway. And then later on, we might open up different channels. And usually we'll open up different channels and just send them down the same pipe. Okay? But there's a real power to just having 1 way that you make money. I know that they say that 1 is a dangerous number, but the truth is, every business that I know that wins because they focus. In fact, when I first started working with coaches at a company called Action Coach, they had this marketing philosophy, and as marketing manager, they taught me that what I really needed to have if I wanted to have a successful, to fill these guys up with leads, was to have what they called a 10 by 10. Have you heard of that? 10 by 10 was basically, you want to have, instead of 1 marketing strategy that delivers all your results, you want to have like 10 different pillars. So there's pillar number 1, pillar number 2, pillar number 3. You want to have 10 different strategies which each bring in 10% of your leads. That was the the theory. Now, you know what? That sounds really cool in theory, but you know the problem? Nobody can manage 10 different strategies. Not a single coach had 10 successful strategies running that I've ever met. Why? Because it's just too much to manage, too much to master. Think about the test and measure effort that's got to go into 10 strategies. And then if you want to kind of tweak each of the 10 strategies, by the time you're done with 10, you've got nothing done. So the key is to ditch. I know this is kind of counterintuitive, but I think the key is to ditch 10 strategies and just focus on maximizing one. Is this making sense? Just kind of want to quickly check in. Is this making sense so far? Yes? Fantastic. Okay, great. So, back to the point. We want to simplify your strategy. We want to stop doing 50 different things, all of these little branches which are sideways distractions. We want to clip them off so that the tree can go straight in the direction we want. We're going to reduce the number of moving parts so you can focus on a very, very few and maximize the results you get. Okay? When you do that, then you're able to focus on one thing and do it really, really well. Okay? So there's this movie City Slickers, and there's this scene in it where Jack Palance, who's the dude in the middle there with the red scarf, he was played by a character. He played a character called Curly. And he said, do you know what the secret to life is? This. And he held up one finger. And Mitch, the other character, goes, your finger? No, one thing. Just one thing. You stick to that, and the rest don't mean shit. And Mitch goes, well, what's the one thing? And Curly said, that's what you have to find out. This whole training today is about what's the one thing. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to get rid of complexity. Complexity can be in one of three places. Oops. It can be in your marketing, it could be in your sales, and it can be in your delivery. Marketing, sales, delivery. So I've got a quick question for you. If you look at those three circles for your business, marketing and sales and delivery, where has the most complexity been for you? Where have got the most moving parts and the least amount of progress? Just do me a favor, take 10 seconds. I want to make this not just awesome content, but I really want to make it apply to, I want you to apply it to you. So if you think about your marketing and your sales and your delivery, where is the confusion? Where has the confusion been? Just going to give you 20 seconds. Where's the confusion laid? Okay, confusion's been in marketing. Marketing, says George. Marketing, says Nicole. Marketing, says Malcolm. Haven't really done any marketing yet, so that's probably where it is. Too much randomness. Making things too complicated and too manual. Don't have a clear marketing strategy. Most of my stuff comes from referrals. Gotcha. Delivery and marketing. Yeah, like Nathan, when we talked late last year about the plan, there's a lot of levels, a lot of complexity going on, right? So we want to keep that really simple. Definitely too manual. Marketing, says Lana. Perfect. Delivery 1 and marketing 2. Perfect. Okay, so most important. First thing we're going to do is we're going to simplify the strategy. Why? Because then we can get rid of any of the distraction. We're just going to grow. So next, number 2. If you think about the year ahead and really making this, making that goal a reality, the thing that we need to do is we need to seek internal variety. Let me explain what I mean. I think there's 2 places where you can find variety in your business. One is external variety and one's internal. External variety is what most people do. You've heard of the new shiny object, bright shiny object syndrome. Where you're out there, you're doing this thing and you hear about, oh, I should be doing this kind of automated webinar thing, or I should have that kind of new product funnel going on, or I needed this, or you kind of hear about high-end, big ticket stuff, or you need ebooks or whatever. You kind of out there chasing new shiny objects. That's what I call external variety. And people who chase external variety rarely get things done, because by the time they get something started, they put all their effort into starting and getting things to a level where they're almost ready to do it, and then the next shiny thing comes along. When you're seeking external variety, it's very rare that you actually get the traction. It's like the spaceship, the space shuttle that takes off. Like 80% of its fuel is spent getting 12 kilometers off the ground. Okay? A whole bunch of effort just to get something off the ground. Once it's there, though, a tiny little bit of effort can, like a 1 degree nudge to one side or the other can make, the difference between landing on the moon or landing on Mars. So what I want you to think about is, instead of seeking external variety, looking for the new shiny things, is find the internal variety. What I mean by that is to stop chasing new shiny things and invest your effort into improving the things which are already working. Let me give you an example. One of my good friends, Clay Collins, is a really good webinar marketer out of Minnesota in the US. Smart dude. It took him 2 months to build his first webinar. It took on his first sales webinar. It took him 2 months to get to the point where it was converting at 10%. Right? 2 months to 10%. It's kind of pretty lame. It took a long time. But once they ran that webinar and it hit 10%, then all he does is he starts to tweak. And it took him 3 hours. I just want you to notice the difference. 2 hours to build it. 2 months to build it. 3 hours to triple the conversion rate from 10% to 30%. That's internal variety. It's working on your stuff. Okay? If you think about kind of the marketing slogans, this is new and improved. Well, I don't want you to have new and improved. I want you to have new or improved. And I'd rather you focused on improved instead of new. New is the space shuttle that takes 80% of its petrol every time you want to start a new thing. Improved is quick. It's cheap. And if you had to kind of an hour versus improved versus an hour worth of new, the hour of improved is going to give you a 10 times better return than something new. Now, if you haven't got anything in place and you're starting from scratch, yeah, of course there's going to be some new involved. But if you've got something that's kind of sort of working a little bit okay, we're going to spend our time improving what works rather than creating new every single time. Is this making sense? So don't look for a new how. Don't look for a new what, like a new tactic, a new whatever. Look for a better how, a better way to do the things you've already committed to. So we're talking about improvement, not invention. You might want to write down improvement, not invention. In Tokyo, Japan, there's, underneath a little subway station, there's a little sushi shop run by a guy called Jiro, this guy right here. And for years and years and years, he's been making sushi. He's the only sushi chef in the whole world who's got 3 Michelin stars. This guy, because of his dedication to sushi, he says he dreams of sushi. Because of his dedication to sushi, he's won the Japanese Medal of Honor and 3 Michelin stars. He's the only sushi chef in the world to get Michelin stars, right? 3 Michelin stars. There's a movie called Jiro Dreams of Sushi. And what that kind of says to me is this dude's obsessed with improvement, not with new. He hasn't kind of launched into hot dogs, right? You want to be a little bit like that in your business. Take the core elements and forever work on tweaking and cranking and tweaking and cranking. I've been running the same ignition sales webinar for 4 or 5 years, and I just keep making it a little bit better, keep upping the conversion rate, tweak the slides, change this piece of content for that. But it's the same. Like if you looked at my very first webinar I ever ran and the one I run now, it's about 70% the same content. Okay, I want you to seek internal variety instead of looking for external variety, changing shiny objects. Number 3. This is the kind of the crux of our plan today. I want you to work the 5 ones. So if you think about simplicity, what's the magic number? The magic number isn't 5 or 10 or 3 or even 2, it's 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick the 5 core parts of our business, and we're going to narrow it down to the magic number. So the 5 key pieces of our business, I'll walk through them in a second, and we're going to create one optimized version of it. So one core way that we generate leads, one core product that we sell, one conversion tool that completely rocks, one product that delivers incredible results, okay, to one target market. We're going to take those elements and we're going to just focus down onto the one single piece. The problem is that most of us have got too many balls in the air. We talked about this already, right? So for each step in the marketing and sales and delivery process, we're going to create the highest conversion piece, highest value piece that gives us the most scale or most throughput. We're going to do that so we can maximize the machine. We're going to put the most amount of people through it, have them have the most number convert, and obviously have them get the very, very best results they can. Why? Because it's going to give you the most money and the most results for the least amount of effort. Okay? So it's a little bit like this. I'm a crap handyman. My kind of tool of choice is my Amex, right, or my Visa card. My dad's really handy with a hammer. And when we were kids, or when I was a kid and he was a younger dad, we had to build some stuff out in the backyard, some sleepers into the, to kind of retain the garden. And so he gave me a hammer and a nail, and my nails were all wonky because I never hit them straight. What we want to do, that's what happens when you're not focused. What we want to do is we want to get the nail, we want to hit it one time. And because everything's in line, everything's focused on the chauffeur funk, one hit, one person with one product, one conversion tool, one lead channel, and work at it for a year. That's our plan to get to $1 million. Is this making sense, dudes? So we're going to work the 5 ones, and I'm going to go into detail about what the 5 ones are in just a sec. Okay. Number 4. I want you to compress your creation. Specifically, what I mean is this. There's a bunch of time that goes into creating the product or creating either creating content to teach or creating content for content marketing purposes, videos and blogs and that sort of stuff. The rule for the year is no more than 1 day a month on creation. 1 day a month to create the stuff. 1 day a month to create the content, and 1 day a month on content creation. So that's kind of a content creation day, content marketing day, like video blogs and newsletters, etc. And 1 day a month to create product to teach to your dudes. 1 day a month. If you compress the creation down, then it gives you the freedom to do the other stuff you need to do. But unfortunately, what most of us do is we spend so much time creating, getting our IP just right, or creating the perfect product, or even creating a brand new product each time. So what we want to do is reduce the amount of time you spend making new things from scratch. Okay, like the rocket ship. I want you to don't make another thing until you're getting everything you can out of it. So compress your creation time down so you can deliver that one piece well. Focus on getting it worked out. So we're going to free up a bunch of time. Why? Well, because in a minute, we're going to use the other time for something mega productive and profitable for you. Okay? So let me just kind of give you a quick example. So if you spend your time and you create one great piece of content, like let's say you create something for your clients. Like one thing I used to make this, I used to do this weekly fax for my members. Okay? So every Monday morning, they'd get a fax from me. If they had a fax machine, it'd be a fax. Otherwise, it'd be a PDF. But it was basically one page with a little image up here and some content. And it was great. Like they were paying for it. It was like a one marketing lesson a week for my dudes. Now, I got to the place where I thought I'd written enough stuff and didn't want to write any more. Okay? But I've got all this content around. So when you focus 1 day a month on creating great content for your guys, then just realize if it's good enough for your paying clients, it's definitely good enough for your prospects. So what you do is you take a snippet out of it, and share it with you guys. So if you run a 2-day workshop, take a 5-minute snippet, put that up on your blog, and that's the video content for the week. Yeah. In this case, all I did was I took the weekly faxes I already had, I took the text, and I added 2 important pieces. I put them in an email autoresponder, and I put hi, first name at the front, and at the end, I put PS. If this made sense to you and you want that, then buy my stuff. So if you're going to compress your content creation and content marketing time down to a day a month, just realize that one piece of content can get turned into multiple things. So right now, we've just started creating a weekly video. Now that video is going to go up on YouTube and iTunes. The MP3 is going to go on iTunes. It's going to be transcribed and put straight underneath it. So now we've got words. That's going to get turned into an article, into social media pieces, and spread across Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., all from one core piece of content. And at the next Black Belt Intensive in March, James Schramko, who's a master at this, is going to be walking through the exact process on how to do that for your business. But I just want you to understand that you need to take one core piece of content and then leverage it so you don't have to spend new time every time creating all of these various pieces. You following? So, number 4, compress your content creation down to a day a month for content to deliver and a day a month for marketing content. Why? Because then what we want to do is we want to maximize the marketing. Because the truth is, you're not a coach or a trainer or a teacher. You're a full-time marketer. Okay? There's 2 things that every $1 million business I know never lets go of. The business owner never lets go of the checkbook, money out, and they never let go of the marketing, the money in. So if you think about a week, every week has 14 half days. 14 half days. At a minimum, you want to take 2 of those half days and put that to marketing, like Marketing Monday or something like that. At a minimum. 2 of those half days. The truth is, though, that you should be a full-time marketer. It takes me a day a month to create all of the content I need for Black Belt. 1 day a month. So your only job, as your full-time job as a marketer, is to get people to decision points where they're there to make a decision about moving forward, yes or no, with your product or program. So your job is to get as many people to that decision point as you can and then maximize the yeses. So I just think, if you think about the last 7 days, if there was 14 half days in the last 7 days, how many of those days did you spend marketing and selling? How many of those half days out of the 14, how many were spent marketing and selling for you? Not enough. I want a number, okay? I want a number. Jim Rohn used to say the reason they make those boxes so small on the sales form is just so you can't put your story in. Not even half a day. Casey Golan, I see you there, dude. You're fairly proactive at this stuff. How many half days did you spend last week on marketing and sales? 1 day, says Jeff. 1 day, says Chris. Not a half, says Colin. 1, says Matt. 4, says Nicole. Awesome. So your cash flow will follow your calendar. The more time you spent marketing and selling, the better your results get. It's kind of that simple. Last week, maybe 1 day. Okay. So let's just pause and check in. We've talked about five keys here. Number 1, simplify your strategy. Get rid of all the distractions. You need to prune like crazy. Anything that's pointing off to the side when you want to be going up needs to be cut off. Number 2, seek internal variety. Improvement, not invention. If you had to choose between new and improve, you're going to choose improved every time, unless you don't have something in place. I'm going to walk you through the plan in a second, but I just need to lay the framework. Okay? You need to work the 5 ones. You know, one person, and you create one product, and you create one conversion tool, and one primary manner to generate leads, and you work that for 1 year. That's the 5 ones. And that's the way to 7 figures. You need to compress your creation down to 1 day a week for content. 1 day a month for content, and 1 day a month for marketing content. Kind of content marketing. Why do you compress it down? So you can be a full-time marketer, because that's your job. So out of those 5 key points, which one of those most relates to you? Just wanted to check in, please. Which one of those most relates to you? Casey says a lot. Right, I'm sure you did do a lot, because you've got big events to launch, right? By the way, Casey, we're due for our session number 2, right? And Stefan? Is it Stefan or Stefan? I always get it wrong. In fact, I'm going to unmute you, mate, because it's bugging me and I need to know. Hey, my friend, Stefan. Dude, I'm so sorry. You sounded like a Swedish tennis player there for a minute. I knew that wasn't right.
I'll go with that.
Thanks, Stefan. Appreciate that. Okay, so Yvonne says, too much time on content, not enough time on marketing. Anyone who's kind of around the thought leader space, you know, there's just this tendency to kind of get all wrapped up in your ideas and your thinking, and it's beautiful stuff, but it means nothing unless we can get a client. Simplify my strategy, says Ruben. Compress my content, says Yvonne. Compress content, says Pauline. The 5 1, says Matt. We're going to go super deep on the 5 1s in a sec. Compress my creation, says Colin. Improvement, not invention, Shabana. Hey, great to have you here. We're due for our session number 2, and I'd love to hear how you went with your homework, Shabana. So we'll talk about that later. Maximize my marketing, amongst many. Great. Maximize the marketing. Nathan says, I like shiny new things. I love shiny new things as well. But the time to decide on your shiny new things is this webinar. And then from then on, it's about polishing and sharpening the shiny new things, right? 5 1, says Lana. Perfect. Maximize my marketing. Great. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to draw this out. And I want to give you the 5-step plan. And I want to do this so we can kind of decide on what your 5 1s are and get really, really clear. So let's do that right now. I think I've got like a little graph here started, which is kind of cool. So today's not a tactics session, right? It's a strategy session. So this will lay the framework so that everything we do over the rest of the year really lays out the game plan super, super clearly. So let's talk about the 5 1s, right? The 5 1s as your strategy. So if you've got a pen, paper, if you could just draw an upside down pyramid and a right side up pyramid. And we're going to divide them into 5. Okay. So while you're doing that, this is the 5 ones and the kind of prescriptions of the action steps, right? So I'm going to write down the key ones and I'm going to say a bunch that aren't kind of written, so just listen quick and take good notes, right? Okay. So the plan is really, really simple. Might go yellow. So the 5 ones starts off with this. If we think about down here being the Schwerpunkt, the kind of the one place we're aiming to, almost like the nail that we want to drive down with one strike instead of bending the nails all over the place. We want to kind of hit it once and have it go all the way down. The way we do that is by having all of these 5 ones lined up. So the first piece is we want to be marketing and kind of aiming to serve one person. One particular kind of person. What kind of person? You want to pick a target market that you love to serve. I know there's people out there who go, it doesn't really matter who you're serving. It's kind of just about the fact that you're filling a need, and I don't believe that for a second. Business is hard enough that if you don't care about the people you're helping, then you're in the wrong business, and I don't think you're going to last. Now you may be different to me about that, but for me, it really helps to have somebody that you want to serve. Dan Sullivan, one of my one of the thought leaders I kind of really admire most, talks about who do you want to be a hero to. So I love working with coaches and consultants because they're smart, they get it, and they're out there to kind of make a difference for them and for their clients, and I really dig that. So for me, the person I love to serve is a smart coach or a smart consultant. Yeah. So who is your one person? And so I want you to be thinking about 2 pieces to that. What kind of person? And what's their biggest problem? Okay? How can you get even clearer about who this person is and what their problem is? On a scale from 1 to 10, how clear are you about who they are and what their biggest problem is? We want to focus on something that Frank Kern calls the big ass problem. Right? What's the big problem that they've got? Just going to give you 10 seconds. There's an idea you need to capture, and capture it. The big idea right now is that we're focused on one person that you love to serve. If you've got multiple different target markets, that's when life gets tricky. And it may be a really easy one. Like for me, it's a demographic like it's coach and consultant. For you, it might be more about the problem that you solve. Casey, it's entrepreneurs who are between, is it $2 and $5 million and want to add 10. Yeah? So what's the person and the problem for you? Excellent. So once we've identified this one person, this one problem, the person that we really love to help, the next piece in the 5 ones is we're going to create one product. One product. One product that you'd stake your life on, that you go into bat for, that you know gets results for your people. If you've talked about the person and their problem, this is the product that solves the problem. Okay? So you want a product that you can stake your life on. You might want to write that to the side. So it's one person you love to serve, one product that you could stake your life on. Why? Because we're about to create this thing that solves their biggest problem and promise it to the world. Are you with me so far? So if you think about I remember when I first started, I was really hesitant to market and sell my stuff like 6 years ago because I wasn't 100% convinced that it would work for every coach yet. And until you get really clear about that, there's hesitancy. Often there's a hesitancy about kind of taking my stuff out there to the world if I'm not 100% kind of prepared to kind of hold it up like this is my thing and show the world your thing, right? So one person that you love to serve. Number 2, one product that you can stake your life on. The third of the 5 ones is one conversion tool, and we're going to get into details in a second. One conversion tool that you're happy to tell the world about. One conversion tool that you're happy to tell the world about. So, for example, conversion tools might be a one-on-one sales appointment. It might be a webinar or a seminar or a workshop, right? And a lot of you guys are doing those, those kind of 3. There's a bunch of others, but let's focus on those 3 for now. If my job is to get a joint venture partner to promote my webinar, my conversion tool, this kind of ignition webinar, had better be something that I can stand up proudly and say, this webinar rocks, it's super high value, people will love it, they'll love you, and they're going to get incredible results, and it's going to sell really well. You need a conversion tool that you can stand up and tell the world about. So notice how we don't have 5 different target markets and 3 different products and 6 different ways we can convert them into clients. Why? Because that's pruning. That's all this stuff off here to the side that we've trimmed and culled and doesn't exist right now. Okay, so we've got one person who we love to serve, one product that you can stake your life on. And Stefan, talking to you last year about the people in the board of directors 12 and how their results are life changing. You know, it's awesome. You kind of just, you don't even need confidence. You just know this is, you're bulletproof about it, right? You want to feel like that about your stuff. You need a conversion tool that you can tell the world about. Dale runs this program, The New Rules of Business, his one-day seminar. He can tell the world about it because it rocks and he knows that it converts. My Ignition webinar is exactly the same. Okay, what's your conversion tool? And we'll talk about the details in a sec. The fourth of these ones is you need one lead channel, one traffic source that reliably buys. One traffic source or one lead channel that reliably buys. In other words, a way that you can consistently get in front of enough people or get enough people into your funnel. And again, we're going to talk about specifics in a second. So one person that you love to serve, one product that you'd stake your life on, a conversion tool you could tell the world about, a lead source that reliably buys. You know, a way that you can get people into your funnel. Maybe you do pay-per-click advertising. Maybe you do Lenore, you do joint venture webinars to accountants databases. For me, it's joint ventures. Maybe you do direct mail, okay? But you need a way that you can consistently get enough people into your system. Why? Because remember how we said before, how we're going to focus on improvement, not invention? Once we've decided what our person is, who our person is, what our product is, what the conversion tool is in the lead channel, then our job is not to go seeking new ways to do that. Our job is to focus on improvement, because 1 hour of improvement will give you a 10 times return versus anything that you do with invention. Okay? The last of the 5 ones is all about that, and it's 1 year. 1 year to do what? To sharpen, to polish, to refine. Okay, so I'm just going to pause. What's been most valuable so far? Just going to give you a sec to type into the question box. What's been most valuable so far? We're about to flip over and talk about the how-to, but I want to know what's been most valuable so far. Nicole just had a wicked aha moment about who my one person is. Type it in. I'd love to find out more. George says 5 ones. It's just so much easier to market to one person than it is to be. If you're an accountant or a plumber, all of a sudden your business gets tricky. Shavana, pick one person, right? Clarity on what I need to focus on. So Ruben, what stood out for you? I'm just going to quickly unmute you right now. Where are you? There. Hey Ruben, what kind of stood out?
Hey Taki, I a lot of different ways. Like I've been working on my vision for my new business. It's just become very clear the steps I need to build. In terms of the one, it's just very clear. I need to build this, and I reckon I can do that. Within a month.
Yeah, within a month is exactly
like a day, like you said, a day. I can do a day to build my product, a day to build my conversion tool, a day to build my lead channel, and it's just very simple, and I've got my business.
Perfect, exactly right. And then it's about forever improving those 4 bits. And I reckon a year is good.
Yes.
You go, I'm gonna tinker's not the right word. It's more strategic than that. But I'm gonna hone and refine and craft for a year. I think it's awesome. Well done, Ruben. That's great. I'm just gonna mute your line. Stop developing other stuff and just focus on one program, says Jeff. Totally. Keep it simple and block out the doing it in my calendar. Help me with target market. Focus on problem, not a particular kind of person. Yeah, so for you, Nathan, it's general business owners, but there's a particular problem, a particular promise we need to make. Lenore, I like how the 5 ones give you a clear path. Yeah, they're like the nail that we're just going to drive home by just focusing on these one things. Simplicity, says Matt. One person, says Nathan. Perfect. Visual of this is really clear. Love the idea of marketing to one person. Relief, prune it and sharpen it. Culls my creation time. Totally. validation that the work required is in more leads. Everything else is really solid. Yeah, in your business, there's a lot of solidity in the top half, right? Colin, super hard to decide on ones. Interesting. Colin, what specifically? I'm going to unmute you for a sec, just to kind of hear your thoughts. Colin.
Yeah, hey Taki, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. So you're obviously working in kind of the corporate space a little bit.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the ones. What's the tricky part?
Yeah, so I guess it's like I've mapped out my. So I guess my target market is it's middle managers working in corporates who are having problems with their team, with their communication styles, and managing their time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got so many corporate training days that I've delivered, and I've got coaching programs, public workshops, products. Like there's just so many like offerings
that
I do that all kind of work. Like they all add income and they've all been sticking, but it's more I'm just having difficulty deciding what I should focus on.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, one of the things you said right at the start was that one of the factors from last year was spending time on low-end stuff. Was a bunch of that in creation or not so much? Or was it more just the admin?
No, not so much the creation. It was more like the web-based stuff and things like that, which I've managed to outsource now.
Yep. Yeah, cool. So in your case, maybe you're better to focus on one front-end product, like one core offering that you take to the market, which gives you the opportunity when you're in front of the corporate to then sell, whatever they need. But I'd still focus on this bit as much as I possibly can. Does that help?
Yeah, right. So I've got a whole bunch of things that I offer them when I sit with them one-on-one, but it's like a front-end offering.
Yeah, it's like exactly. It's a front end to get somebody in the door. That's probably you. Cool?
Yeah, cool.
Awesome. I just realized I was... That's so funny. I was drawing on my iPad trying to move my mouse, and I just realized that, hey, my computer's my computer, my mouse is my iPad's my iPad. There we go. I think it's perfectly reasonable to think that you could touch a screen and your mouse moves it. We're just not there yet. Nicole says, I've always thought I had two markets, elite and amateur. My one person is aspiring to elite. That's exactly what they all have in common, regardless of where they are on their journey. Aspirations and goals are huge. Problem is the gap between where they are now, top. Perfect. Exactly right. So you don't have two markets. They've both got that in common. Awesome. Okay. So let's kind of make this super practical. I want to help you map out your 5-1. So I'm going to give you a key to focus on and some choices to make around each of these 5. Okay, so with your permission, let's rock on. And so today we're not going to be like, where do you click to set up your pay-per-click campaign? We're focused on strategy at the start of the year, okay, just to be super clear. Okay, so the keyword here up the top of our 5-1s, about one person, is the keyword is to narrow. Narrow your focus and select one target market. So that's one person with one problem. Okay, we talked about that right here. Okay, so narrow your focus. One person with one clear problem. And so the problem is, anytime you're smart, there's a bunch of people you could help and a bunch of differences you could make, a bunch of problems you can solve. The more clear you are about that, then a couple of things happen. Number one, the first result is it makes it easy for you because you can hunt for the right person. If I go, hey, I want to search for accountants who aren't upselling and cross-selling, or whose staff aren't upselling and cross-selling enough deals, and they just focus on compliance work, Andrew, all of a sudden, it's easy for you to know where to search for. You don't have to search for law firms. You can just focus, build a list of accountants. So number one, it's better for you. Number two, it's better for them because now they go, that is talking to me. Whereas if you're all things to all people, you're nothing to nobody, right? So number one, I want you to get clearer, kind of sharpen down who your person and what their problem is. And if you haven't done that, that's a write it down for your homework. Okay, let's move down to the next piece. The next piece is about one product that you can, stake your life on. This is all about, if the person's got a particular problem, this is all about solving their particular problem, right? And really, I don't just mean what am I going to teach them. It's about the promise that you make. What's the promise going to be? It's going to be promise to solve the problem that they had over here. It's about the promise that you make, and then the process that you take people through. And so specifically, if you've haven't already got an outline of your signature system, the way to think about it is like this. And I think some of you guys did this with me in the Coaching Business Intensive in March this year, and others will do it. We'll work on it one-on-one in our one-on-one sessions together. Okay, so when you're creating a program to deliver an incredible result, because that's our goal, right? A program that you can stake your life on. It's all about having this person in mind. We talked about a person and their problem, right? So you kind of just get really clear about what their problems are. That's kind of step number one. In detail, what the problems are, what the frustrations are, and how much it's costing them. And then you go, well, if they worked with me for a period of time, what would be the ultimate result that they most want? And you get clear about what the result is. What it would look like specifically, like the situation, the feeling about it, and the impact. So that's situation, frustration or emotion, quantification, numbers, right? Both on the bad side and then once it's fixed. So what we're really talking about here is what's their big problem and what is your promise. Okay, when we think about the second of these 5 ones, creating a product that you'd kind of stake your life on, go into bat for, it's got to be a problem that solves their program that promises to solve their big problem. So step 1 is to get clear about what the problem is. Step 2 is what's the promise that you need to make, which is usually just kind of the inside out of the opposite of that. And then step 3 is what are the key milestones that you need to take someone through to take them on this journey from here to here to here to here to here to getting to the happy ending. And those key points, like Lenore, you and I worked on with your program with the 6-week sprints, those key points are your signature system. And you can stand behind this knowing that A, it actually helps people get a result, so that's box number 1 ticked. And number 2, it's got a really compelling marketing promise, box number 2 ticked. So we're going to focus on number 1, the problem, number 2, the process, the promise, and number 3 is the process to get them there. Yeah? Okay. So, one person that you'd love to serve. Number 2, one product that you can stake your life on. And so we're going to focus on solving that problem with a clear process and a really, really strong marketing promise. And that's, that's around pricing and guarantee and how it's delivered, but also about the signature system, kind of the mechanics of how you're going to help them. Yeah. Part 3, the conversion tool, I'm really, really excited about kind of digging into with you, because there's some of you who kind of need a bunch of clarity around what it's going to be. And some of you, it's like, I already got it and it's okay, but it's not converting like it needs to. So when it comes to a conversion tool that you can tell the world about, it's got to be something like the problem with a one-on-one appointment is it's really hard for people to tell their friends how awesome your sales appointment was. So ideally, we're looking for something that is scalable, that's evergreen and event-based. So let me explain that. What we really want to do is this is going to become the focus of your marketing. So everything we do marketing-wise is about getting people to that conversion event. Make sense? That's the Schwerpunkt. Everything we do marketing is about generating a lead so we can get them into there so they can then buy the program. That's the whole deal. So when we think about what this conversion tool is, I'm going to give you some options and then I'm going to suggest a couple. Okay? So the conversion tools can be, many people do really well with webinar, seminar, strategy sessions, which is one-on-one consult. We do really well out of our autoresponder, even though its job really is to get people to, just to a sales page. Autoresponder follow-up, and other people do product launch, a series of videos, build a big hype, etc. So whichever one you choose, whether it's a one-on-one appointment or a webinar or a seminar or whatever, the key things that we really want to have happen are it wants to be evergreen. In other words, you can run it all year round. It wants to be scalable. So the only problem with a one-on-one consult model is that there's a limit to how much time you've got. It's awesome for conversion, and we still do webinar to consult when we're selling black belt. We want something that's evergreen, that can run all the time. Wants to be scalable, so you can put 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 or 200 or 1,000 people through it without it breaking. And number 3, it wants to be event driven. Anything where a prospect puts something in their calendar. Anytime you've got event-driven marketing, your response rate's going to go through the roof because there's built-in scarcity around the event, right? If the event's on January the 27th, well then January 27th is coming and going and there's nothing the prospect can do to kind of postpone it or delay it or stall it. They've either got to show up or they don't. And so there tends to be a higher response rate to anything event-driven. So my preference, kind of had to choose. Webinar or seminar are the two that, if I were in your shoes right now, I'd be focused on most. Okay, something event-driven. Now, Colin, if you're in corporate, it's going to be around these one-on-one appointments, and that's totally okay. All right? So if you think about your conversion tool, first question, which one's it going to be? Is it webinar? Is it seminar? Is it strategy session? Is it autoresponder? Is it launcher? Is it something else? Just do me a favor and just type it into the question box so I know what you're focused on. Stefan, STSASS, sorry mate, that's strategy session. One-on-one sales appointment, diagnostic, you might call it, right? Webinar. Webinar, says Nicole. Pauline says webinar. Chris says seminars, perfect. Yvonne, webinar. Matt, webinar. Shavana, webinar. Seminar, says Malcolm. Yeah, Lenore, I totally agree with you. You thought seminar, I think you thought correct. Okay, in a local market, seminar is perfect. Sales webinar, perfect. AR is autoresponder. It's also Andrew Robertson who asked the question. Autoresponder, in other words, a series of emails which bring people back. So my long-term nurture emails are all bringing people back to a sales vid, right? Workshop, says Ruben. So workshop, seminar, same. Webinar, but it needs a lot of improving. Perfect. That's what we're going to do, right? Seminar, says George. No worries, Nathan. Got your message. And for launch video. Okay, great. Webinar or seminar to sample session. So the sample session is your 2-hour thing, Stefan, is that right? I think it is. Just waiting for him to say yep. Yeah, great. Perfect. So webinar or seminar to a sample. Perfect. Okay, so now we've decided on a flow. We want to make sure that it's evergreen, so you can run it all the way through the year. It's scalable. You could put multiple people through it and you get great results. And it's event-driven. If you can tick those boxes, then we're in a really, really good place. Okay. And our focus with creating this conversion tool we can tell the world about is to have something that's super high value that we're really proud to market. Not just proud, but like that you could tell a joint venture person they get excited about. Or that you could put videos about and people go, that's amazing, I want to come to that. Okay, regardless of the sales outcome at the end. And obviously it wants to be high conversion so that they do buy. The next piece is we need one traffic source or one lead channel that reliably buys. And this is all about scale. So if you've got a conversion tool that converts really well and that you're proud to tell the world about and a great product, and that serves one person and helps them get a really good result. The problem is probably, and you're still not growing, the problem is probably that you don't have a scalable traffic source or a scalable lead source. Oh, I just got a text. I don't have it. There we go. Well, yeah, what's probably missing is a scalable traffic source. So I want to give you kind of the 4 kind of main options. And all I want you to do right now is just kind of pick one. And when I say some of them, let me just do them and that'll make sense as we go. So 4. So number 1 is partnerships. That's meant to say partner. Okay, partnerships, joint ventures and affiliates. Lenore, accountants are an example of that for you up in Newcastle. For me, it's people who work with coaches. Okay, so one traffic source is partnerships. It's really easy to scale partnerships up until kind of the 7-figure level and beyond, right? So partnerships would be one. It's often easy to sell through somebody else's list than it is to build your own, especially when you're getting started. It's quick. Okay, number 2 is pay-per-click. Now, pay-per-click might, I'm going to give you the category and you might go, it's pay-per-click, but that for you might mean Google, it might be Facebook, and it might be LinkedIn. It doesn't say you only have to do Facebook ads, right? So Google, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, pay-per-click. It could be on the content network banner ads, or it could be, it could be kind of search engine marketing, or it could be, Facebook ads. Number 3 is offline. Specifically, direct response marketing, direct mail, postcards, letters. And maybe the phone could be a part of your deal. So offline. It's scalable. As long as you can buy a list, you can send a postcard. Right? And the 4th is kind of content marketing, or SEO for short. Not about link building, but about video and other content. And the whole idea is to create this, this kind of, I think James Schramko calls it the octopus, which is, here's your website, and then we've got your content out on Facebook, YouTube, obviously on Google, on iTunes, on article directories, on all of the biggest platforms in the world, on Pinterest, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter. And so now when your content's out there with links back to you, all of a sudden you have surrounded your prospects and bringing them in. Okay? So that's another strategy. So if you think about those 4, partnerships, pay-per-click, SEO through content marketing, and offline, which of those 4 is your lead source, is your traffic source? And if you're not sure, partnerships is a great place to start. So partnerships and webinar is proven again and again and again and again in so many markets, it's not funny. Okay, partnerships and webinars. What's your traffic source? Perfect. Okay, so let's kind of focus this plan down. We talked about one person creating one product that solves their problem. So narrowing it down to one person, creating a product that solves one problem with a promise and a process, focusing down to have one conversion tool that all of your marketing focuses in on, like the Schwerpunkt. One lead source, one lead channel or lead source that reliably buys, and then 1 year to improve it. And that's all about sharpening. Now here's the thing. If you are, if you've got a traffic source that reliably scales, remember we talked before about improvement versus invention? What we've got to do right now is just decide which ones we're going to do. And some of these you're not going to have in place. Like you may not have your sales seminar in place yet. That's cool. We're going to build it together. You might not have your sales webinar. I'll help you build it. That's easy. Right now it's just decide which one, and then we're going to roll it. We're going to invent first and then just improve for the course of 12 months. Why? So we can improve it all. The most important thing about this sharpening piece is that the more velocity we get, the more people we get through this pipeline, the quicker we're going to learn what's working and what's not. So it's about velocity. It's about dense testing. In other words, if you do, let's say your conversion tool is seminars, and you decide to do one big seminar a year. Well, what you learn at the end of seminar 1, like you do one this year, next year in sort of October you do your next one, and unfortunately you haven't learned a whole bunch because you've kind of forgotten everything you learned. So what we want to do is something that we can do often enough that we can get data, reliable data quick enough so we can tweak from there. Like we talked about with Clay, doing his very first webinar took him 2 months, and then his second one, with 3 hours of tweaking, got significantly more results. In the military, they call them OODA loops. And OODA stands for observe. So this is step 1, is kind of observe the results you get. Step 2 is orient. In other words, figure out what that means in the context of your business. So you have a look at the big picture, what the numbers were and what that means to you. Then decide what you're going to do and then act. And the company that wins is the company with the shortest, quickest OODA cycle. Okay? A little bit of kind of military jargon, but you get the idea. The quicker the kind of more people we've got through this pipeline, the quicker you're going to learn, the quicker this tweaking project becomes, and it might go from a year down to 6 months, etc. Okay, so I just need to quickly pause. I'm going to have a drink, but I want to know what's been most helpful for you so far. Lenore, realize that I thought I had to do it all, but I just need to focus on acquiring JV partners and help them fill my events rather than worrying about content marketing and SEO. Perfect. What's been most helpful so far? Oops. Clear in my mind on what to do to build my leads. Perfect, Andrew. Focus on one thing at a time, George. Jeff, focus on one thing at a time. Need to get my traffic source right. Totally, right? That's the top of the top of the funnel. Have all the material I need. Just need to focus it with the 5 ones. Totally. And so improvement's good, right? Improvement's easy. Think about how long it takes to create a whole new sales event from scratch. You've got to do a sales page. You need to write the content. You need to write the autoresponders and all that stuff set up versus, hey, I've got this thing that kind of works okay. Let's just make it work. Helps me create focus. 5 ones, really that simple. I don't need to be in 12 places at once. Simplicity of the 5-step plan, totally. Okay. So what we want to do right now is we want to create your roadmap. And the roadmap is kind of where do you focus on first, second, third, and fourth. So the answer is really simple. You're going to start as high as you need to start. And so if I was, if I was kind of taking you through this from scratch, and we were thinking about like a 12-month plan, then the place to start is you'd probably spend month 1 and 2 here. Month 1 and 2. And it doesn't have to be a whole month on each, but sort of month 1 and 2 to identify your product. You don't want to spend more than a month creating your program. That's just a waste of time. Okay? Month 1 and 2, identify your person, their biggest problems, and then create the solution. Map out how you're going to deliver it. Okay? Then you're going to obsess about conversion tool, months 3 and 4. Five, 6, lead channel, and then you're going to revisit and tweak all the way up. Okay, so that's your plan right there. It's figure out, get super clear about one person and their problem, and make a promise that they can connect with. Then build a product that delivers on that promise, right? A product that you can stake your life on. Then you go to work on creating a conversion. Honestly, if it takes you 2 months to create a webinar or 2 months to create a thing, that's fine. It's totally fine. You're going to be tweaking it forever, like I have with my Ignition webinar. Okay? Then it's about lead channel. So all I want you to do right now is kind of identify where on this pyramid you need to start. And if you're not clear, start at the top. And if you are clear, if you've got if you think you've got everything nailed, then let's focus on 3 and 4, improving conversion at conversion tool, and then lead channel. Yeah, and then lead channel, not lead channel first. Cool? There's no point generating a bunch of leads and sending them to a webinar that sucks or to an event that doesn't close. All right. So that is the game plan. So the question is, where's your highest hole, and what do you need to, that's where you're going to start. The higher up the chart you can, that's exactly where to go. So what I want to know is what's the biggest takeaways for you? What'd you learn? What'd you notice? What would you like to share? Okay, so I've kind of talked about what's been most valuable. What'd you learn overall about your business and how it relates to this? Colin says, focus on joint ventures who have my leads and show them my signature model to step it out. Yeah, it's great to step out in front of clients. Totally it is. Confirm resources into lead gen and tweak conversion tool online, offline. Perfect, Stefan. Shavana, I need to start with the person, not the problem, not the product. Totally right. So when we talked the other day, that's where we started, right? Who's the person and what's going on for them? Shavana, you're in exactly the right place. George, focus on too many things. So pruning is for you. Yeah, just need to finalize my webinar ASAP, Matt. You're totally right. Been making things way too complicated. Just need to work the plan like you laid it out. Totally, Lauren. Don't freak out. Just one plan. Start marketing. I've got enough content to go live. Yvonne, you've got content up the wazoo. Yeah. Improve, not new. So you don't want new and improved. You just want improved, right? Great to know. I've only got one kind of client. going to be able to speak to them with much more confidence now, differentiate between them by their problem. Totally. My business has been too complicated, not sure what to do next. Best to start at the start again. Malcolm, I totally agree. And it's not going to take you a whole month to get clear about person and problem. Right? You could nail that next week. In fact, why don't you do that? By next week, I want to report with what you know about your person and their problem. Send it to me, Black Belt at More Clients, and we'll talk about product. Okay? Get started on automating my marketing, Andrew. Right. Free guides, traffic source, sales webinar, signature system, Jeff. Perfect. I know where to spend my time improving, structure to take the team through. Perfect. Ruben says the chauffeur punks. Totally. Focus it down, right? Chris, need to work on my JV partners, finalize my webinar. Malcolm, gotcha. Perfect. Guys, it's been so fun hanging out. This right here is the game plan. It's the 7-figure plan. It's every great info marketing coaching business I know is built like this. One person that you'd love to serve. One product you'd stake your life on. A conversion tool you want to tell the world about. A lead channel that reliably buys, and then a year to tweak, refine, and sharpen the whole thing. Dudes, it's been so fun. I'm really excited about the year that's coming. I've got some just insanely great things planned for our live events. Don't want to give too much away, but we're going to be focusing on content marketing, video and that side of things, and then marketing and filling and selling at live events, and then on. I don't want to give away number 3. It's kind of a bit secret. So really excited about that. So pumped about working with you guys. And if you haven't already, keep an eye out for your email, because you're going to get an email today with the Black Belt calendar with all of the events, all of the webinars, all of the everything's. And I'd love to have you at all of the live events. Put them in your calendar first, and everything else, as many of the other stuff as you can. Cool. It's been lots of fun. Super excited about working with you for the year, and pumped about working with you. Thanks, Yvonne.